Thank you. Our next presenter will be informing us about physics. She attends Tacoma Park Middle School and will be an 8th grader in the fall. Please give a warm welcome to Laura Sway.
Thank you for being here today. As I walk up here today, I can see all of you, and therefore I automatically accept you as part of my reality. However, do any of us really think about how reality works? Probably not, because there have already been people to think about that for us. Well, the first of what we generally consider to be a major modern advancement in physics came in the late 1700s and was led by a name which you are all probably familiar, Isaac Newton. Newton's groundbreaking formulas, which revolutionized our conception of the universe and allowed us to accurately describe things such as gravity, like a falling apple and how does it fall. Newton's formulas are still the backbone of our classic physics today. However, Newton's formulas and insights were not perfect. One such imperfection was his conception of absolute space. Absolute space, as Newton envisioned it, was a rigid 3D grid in which reality would play itself out, and time ran at the same unchangeable pace throughout the whole universe. These ideas were widely debated, and finally they were overthrown by another figure whom has gained even more fame for his theory of relativity, Albert Einstein. Einstein's theory of relativity states that essentially your movement through space and time is equal to the speed of light. And this meant that the faster you are moving through space, the less you are moving through time. So the slower time is traveling for you, which basically was a complete contradiction of Newton's absolute space. Einstein's insights completely changed how we looked at the universe. And by this point, many people thought that we were nearing the end of all of the mysteries of the universe. However, these people thought wrong. Because as a few more years passed, it came to us the discovery of the quantum world, which was essentially a microscopic world of tiny particles that don't even affect us in our daily lives, but it still exists. And the problem with the quantum world was that no one could explain it. In fact, the way it worked completely contradicted with Einstein's theory of relativity. However, there was one person who came up with a formula to describe it, and the person's name was Erwin Schrödinger. Let me write that down for you. Schrödinger's much more complex formula is still what we use today in our quantum mechanics, because so far no one has managed to come up with a suitable replacement. And to this day, quantum mechanics and general relativity still do not get along with each other. They are still completely at odds. And nobody can tell yet whether or not we will ever figure out a solution. Well, one thing that is not at odds with general relativity is probably this speech. You have probably felt the effects of time slowing down. Thank you for listening to me.
Next, I'd like to welcome Katie Kalodner. She's a rising 7th grader at Roberto Clemente Middle School, and she'll be informing us on Greek plays. Let's give a warm welcome to Katie.
famous Greek myths. However, these myths are not just for entertainment and joy. They are also a representation of ancient Greece's culture. So, where did these myths come from? In ancient Greece, specifically Athens, a festival known as the Great Dionysia occurred during the spring. It was a celebration to honor Dionysus, the Greek god of theater and wine. Because one of his domains was theater, there had to be a play competition. Playwrights from all over ancient Greece came and performed and acted plays to the best of their ability. The winner of this competition would be awarded an IVV. Bold, exaggerated masks were needed to perform these plays for the parts such as Poseidon, Athena, satyrs, and much more. There were 3 types of plays that were performed: comedies, the funny; tragedies, the sad; and satyrs, the wild. However, only 2 people were allowed on stage at once. Also, of course, the musical recollection came and performed after the episodes, because the order was prologue, the backstory, parados, the chorus entrance, episode 1, which was for the first scene, Sasimo 1, which was a recollection of the episode except the music. There was episode 2, Sasimo 2, episode 3, choral exit, which is where the chorus exited, and the epilogue, which was the resolution. This was the basis for all the widely Greek myths that we all know. Overall, the Great Dionysia was of great importance in Athens, and also because it had a play competition that was the basis for all of the Greek myths. Thank you for being such a great audience.
Wow, I learned a lot about the Great Dionysia and Greek plays. Next up, we have Justin Cow. He's a rising 8th grader at Julius West Middle School, who will be informing us on the digestive system. Let's welcome Justin.
Hi everybody, thanks for being here. I know I love eating, and all of you probably do too. It's one of America's most valued pastimes. The digestive system is one of the most lengthy and complex systems in the human body. But we all know that when we eat food, it is digested. But do we actually know the process in which food has to go through when getting digested? It all starts out at the mouth. Let's say we sat down to eat an apple for an afternoon snack. Your front teeth, the incisors, are used for biting off and cutting food. Your tongue pushes the food, or the apple, to the back of your mouth where your molars are. Your molars are used to masticate and break down food into smaller, easy to swallow pieces. In the saliva, there's an enzyme called amylase. Amylase is used to break down carbohydrates into glucose particles that are sent throughout the body. Once the apple is easy enough to swallow, it enters the esophagus, which is basically a long tube of muscle. The esophagus breaks down the food even more while also pushing it down to the stomach. In the stomach, an acid called gastric acid is formed. This acid is used to break down proteins and fats that are used in the body to help repair muscles and store energy. After the stomach, the apple enters the small intestines where all nutrients are absorbed from food and brought into the bloodstream and sent throughout the body. After the small intestines, the apple enters the large intestines where water is absorbed, which explains why most of our body is made up of water. After the large intestines, the useless waste is passed to the rectum and is expelled through the anus. And that's the life cycle of an apple. Thank you very much.
Wonderful job, Justin.